And welcome back to A Closer Look. My guest here is Tennessee Representative Bud Hulsey. And we were talking about, when we left this segment, about your drive to have the possibility of folks that may have been involved in a domestic misdemeanor type ordeal to be able to get their rights back to own a weapon. And that's a pretty big majority in Tennessee, because right now you don't have that option, right?
No, none at all. You can have felonies expunged, but you can have this misdemeanor expunged. It's very specific, says you can't.
Now, are there other states that do allow this?
I think there's some other states looking at it, and I'm sorry I don't have the answer to that. We might be one of the trailblazers in that, because all this mess came down from the federal government, several years ago, saying if you've ever committed any kind of domestic violence, you can't own a firearm for the rest of your life. That's where it came from.
So, and it may be just a simple mistake where somebody got into a heated argument and did a little pushing and shoving, and then all their rights are taken away.
Exactly. And what we've done in the legislature over the past few years is we've legislated out all discretion from anybody. We legislated out police discretion. We changed all the words from you can or you may to you shall. We legislated out discretion from judges. We've legislated out discretion from district attorneys. And so as a result of that, of course, now there's no wiggle room for anybody. There's no way for an officer on the street to read a circumstance and say, well, yeah, but this played into this and this factored into that, or that wouldn't have happened. So I'm not going to charge this guy or this woman. In the old days, when I was in the police department and some woman whose husband got drunk and called her a bunch of foul names, and she hauled up to slap the taste out of his mouth, we went up there and said, well, you deserved it. Don't do that again.
Right.
Well, I won't.
But now that'll cost you.
Listen, now you don't, there's police have no choice, That's what code says, you shall, period. So we've done that. It was before my time, but we have legislated out discretion, and it's caused a whole lot of problems.
Now, how do bills get passed? I know a lot of bills get kicked out. And how do they get kicked out of committees?
There's a great mechanism down there for people to kill bills they don't want. For example, I'll give you this one. Last year, I didn't know this till I started prowling around in it, but if I want to run for a state race, like a state senate, a congressional senator in Washington, if I want to run for a senator, or I want to run for governor on a state race, as a Republican, all I have to get is 25 signatures. As a Democrat, all I got to get is 25 signatures. But if I'm a minor party and I want, for example, Libertarian, if I want to run on a Libertarian ticket and have the name Libertarian on there, because I'm a minor party, now I have to get 37,864 votes. Signatures, not votes, signatures. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So I got with the Libertarian folks and the Green folks and the Constitutional folks and said, what are you comfortable with? And they said, well, heck, 5,000 votes, we can get that, that's all right, but that's fundamentally unfair. And by the way, I found out there's been 41 different minor parties since the inception of the state of Tennessee that played major roles in elections in this state, 41 of them. People have an idea that's always been Democrat and Republican, but no. Anyway, I ran a bill that says, hey, you get 5,000 votes, that's all you need. Not votes, signatures. You get 5,000 signatures, you can run on a state race. Well, that caused some internal problems. So the way you kill a bill is they put a physical note on it. The physical note committee folks put a note on it. It says this is going to cost the state of Tennessee X amount of dollars. Well, when anything costs money in a bill, the first avenue it has is in front of the Finance Committee subcommittee. And the Finance subcommittee automatically puts it behind the budget unless it's got mojo from the government. The governor. If it's got mojo from the governor, it'll maneuver through the committees. But if it doesn't have any and it's going to cost money, it gets put behind the budget, which means that the governor comes out with his budget first. Whatever money's left over is what everybody fights over. Well, if my bill is going to cost $2 million and it doesn't have any mojo to get it through, it's not going to make that cut. It's not going to get funded. So that's the way you kill a bill, is to sign a physical note to it that says it's going to cost money. Well, they came out on this bill and said, yeah, I think I got a $2 million physical note on it. So I said, well, what the heck? Well, how is this going to cost the state money? Well, it's going to cost change all these computers to add the word libertarian in there instead of the word independent. So I ran an amendment on the bill, and I said, these folks won't have a primary. They have a convention. Well, then it got another $2.1 million physical note on it, on the amendment, and said, well, if they only had to have 5,000 votes, then they won't be a minor party anymore. They'll be a regular party, and so they have to have a primary. So that's how you kill bills. You put a physical note on it saying it's going to cost money, then it gets put behind the budget, and unless it's got some steam someplace, it doesn't come out of there.
Yeah, unless you've got some backing from the governor, like you said.
I had 4 or 5 good bills. Maybe they were good bills that needed to be fixed, but because they had physical notes on them, they got put behind the budget.
So they just put a monetary value on it,
Yes,
and
sir.
then it becomes
And it goes behind
obsolete.
the budget, and you never see it again. Yeah.
Now, you introduced a bill that would exempt from state sales tax the sale of coins,
Yes, sir.
paper money, and bullion.
Yes, sir.
Talk about how that works now and what you wanted to do to change that.
Okay, we're soon going to be the only state in the South that still charges taxes on somebody when they purchase gold bullion, rare coins, and paper money. You shouldn't be paying tax on paper money and its currency. But I've run this bill two years in a row, and it got a physical note on it. $386,000 they say the state's going to lose on taxes on gold bullion. What they don't say is you are losing tens of millions of dollars of people going out of Tennessee to buy gold bullion, rare coins, and paper money someplace else, and some other state doesn't have a tax on it. And it's just blatantly, to me, crazy. We're losing all this money going someplace else because we're going to hold to this tax on gold bullion, rare coins, and precious metal so we can make $386,000, which, by the way, is 1/3 of the yearly salary of the new chancellor at UT. If you want to put that in perspective. Gee whiz. Anyway, we'll give you an example. Memphis, they hosted the International Paper Money Trade Show for a few years. It brought in, to Memphis alone, I can't remember, $1-2 million. Just the 3 days the trade was in, show was in Memphis. And they told us, hey, if you don't fix this, we're leaving. We're not going to do business in a state that taxes currency. It's crazy.
Right.
So we didn't listen. I tried to run this. They didn't listen, and they moved to Kansas City. So you have vendors, legitimate vendors in Tennessee selling gold coins and rare and gold bullion, but we sting them and hurt them because people just leave this state, go to another state, and buy hundreds of thousands and tens of millions of dollars of gold bullion. I'm gonna run it again.
It may get shuffled to the back again,
Well,
but
I'm gonna see if I can sell it that if you don't do this, you're gonna be the sole state in the South that still taxes gold bullion, and you're just gonna punish Tennessee people.
yeah, because I mean that's a chance for a lot of people to make some money
Well, sure.
in a lot of places.
It's just
in the state.
awful.
Now, you, along with other lawmakers, did help secure some emergency funding that will continue to assist people in Northeast Tennessee with their public transportation needs, and that is a big deal.
It is
has
a big deal.
been
Yeah.
a big deal around this area.
It certainly is. They actually, Net Trans and the way it was set up, of course, has a responsibility for a certain geographical area, and they were actually going further than that and doing more than they were required to do, and that kind of got to where it was set up in a pattern, and they were actually doing things in the city that they didn't have to do, but they were doing them anyway. And so we had to go back and visit that and look at it. And the cities up here were very sensitive to the needs and said, yeah, we need to step up to the plate and help us out. So.
Well, there's a lot of people that depend on this transportation.
You bet.
They can't get to the grocery store or all these other places.
They can't get their medicine. They can't get their doctor. Yeah, you bet.
So this was a very, I mean, I know for a while, everybody was kind of holding their breath up here about this thing.
But it was almost, they almost had to reconfigure the responsibility of whose responsibility turf is this and who gets that and who doesn't, and to work that out. But they did.
But you think everything's pretty well solved in that
From
area?
what I hear, yes, I think it's shaped up the way it's supposed to be.
In the next couple of minutes, just tell me, I guess, a little bit about what you would like your constituents to know and what you're trying to do and the benefits that you're trying to make headway there with the state.
Well, I want folks to know that I don't take this lightly. It means a great deal to me. It's a privilege to be there. It really is a privilege to be there. It's an honor to be there. And I don't say those words flippantly. I really mean that. I just want people in this district to understand that where my heart's at is, I want to always have constitutional integrity. That's the litmus test for me. I always want to preserve liberty, and I always want to have equal representation. Now, people will say, you know, I disagree with the way you voted on this. Well, sometimes I disagree with myself. But when people understand that that's where my heart's at, then they understand how I vote. You know?
And they see that you're out there working for them.
Yeah. Difference in me, I guess, and some others, and there's some great people down there. I'm telling you, I mean, there's some marvelous people, the representatives across this state. There's some that I don't get along with at all, but there's some really good people down there. But there's a lot of folks that view this as an open window that they're going to be there the rest of their life.
No.
I don't view it that way.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate seeing you and talking about what we're talking about.
I enjoyed it.